All right, good morning, everyone. Today is the 22nd day, is it? Or the 21st? 22nd, there you go. I knew I would have gotten that response. So today is the 22nd day of July 2019. By show of hands, does anyone know how special today is? None of the people in the back who are from the media, who are supposedly it's another step in terms of championing the cause of the environment. And I do see Mr. Peter Knight here from NIPA, certainly one of the very, very important stakeholders here this morning. Without further ado, the man who spoke a little bit about it last week in his sectoral debate presentation, may I invite Mr. Darrell Vaz, the Minister without portfolio here, the Office of the Prime Minister and the Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation, to give you a quick overview. Minister.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Bonis, colleague Minister Desmond McKenzie, PS Permanent Secretary Mrs. Marsha Henry Martin, PS Audrey Sewell, Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation / OPM, Mr. Peter Duncan, outgoing General Manager of Caribbean Cement, and of course, welcome to Jamaica, the new General Manager, Mr. Iago Castro, and of course, executive heads of both public and private sector organizations, other stakeholders, and last but not least, representatives of the media. And Prime Minister, again, happy birthday. And for those of you who don't know, he's only 37 today. Sorry, 47. Ladies and gentlemen, today is indeed a very special and important day for Jamaica as it relates to the environment. Today we are signing an MOU as it relates to removal of the tires that are currently stockpiled and have been stockpiled for decades at the Riverton City site, dump site. And we have been working on this for at least 2 years in relation to find a sustainable solution to dealing with these tires. Thankfully, we're at a point where we can have this MOU signed by the Honorable Prime Minister today, and I want to congratulate all the agencies, Minister of Local Government, and of course Economic Growth and Job Creation, and all the other agencies that have worked seriously. So just a background, as was said, we have between 1.5 and 2 million tires at the Riverton City dump that have been causing no ends of problems based on the fact that they are illicitly burned from time to time so that the copper extract can be taken out and of course used in the scrap metal industry or trade. And therefore we've had several major fires that have caused major disruption in the industrial area as well, and most importantly, people's health that travel and live in that area. So we're going to do a pilot project with the Caribbean Cement Company, who has invested substantially in facilitating these tires to be used. Originally, we had planned to shred the tires at the site using a mobile shredder based on information coming from cement company in terms of their tests as to what the kiln could take. Subsequent to that, they did more tests and realized that they could actually do and take the whole tires from the Riverton City dump straight into Caribbean Cement Company's kiln. That has its pros and its cons, because obviously if you do and use a shredder, then obviously your transportation costs are significantly reduced. So what we'll be doing now is moving the whole tires, and of course the tires are bulky, and therefore does have a cost impact. But more than that, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that the Riverton City dump site is probably the closest site to the Caribbean Cement Company. After that you have Hill Run, and then of course you have other sites including Montego Bay. Hill Run has also been used as a site for stockpiling of tires, which was done some years ago. And they had a fire there that took care, an illicit fire that took care of quite a number of tires, but we still have over 1 million tires at Hill Run. So while we are doing this pilot project, Prime Minister, the work is not over. Minister McKenzie, the work is not over because we have to find other solutions in relation to dealing with this whole thing holistically, so that not only can we get rid of the backlog of tires, but we can have a system where tires, which average 1,000 a day, that are coming onto the site, can be diverted to a location or for final delivery to cement company. So today is a big step, and it's a first step, and it's a long overdue step, because it has not been for a lack of trying that governments of the past, including our administration between 2007 and 2011, have tried to come up. So again, I want to congratulate everyone who has brought us to this stage. P.S. Marshall, Henry Martin, P.S. Will played a critical role. Of course, National Solid Waste, Mr. Olive Gordon is not here, and of course our own environmental in the ministry, and of course NEPA. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you and look forward to working with you, and of course my government colleague, minister and ministers, on this very important private-public partnership. This today shows what can happen when you have a strong private-public partnership. And this is not a private-public partnership that is aimed at making millions and billions of dollars, which is what usually happens. This is a cooperation between the government and a private sector company to deal with a very sensitive environmental issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Laws, underscoring the importance of collaboration both between government and the private sector, and certainly with regard to this particular project, a very significant MOU to be signed. And so our stakeholder in this one, Carib Cement, certainly has been invested in Jamaica for so many years, and we thank you, sir, the outgoing general manager, for his leadership over the period of being in Jamaica, and certainly his parting gift to Jamaica, this particular project. May I invite then Mr. Peter Duncan-Sloof, the outgoing general manager of Carib Cement, to make a few remarks.
Thank you. Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Gomez, Honorable Tyre, Honorable Desmond McKenzie, P.S. Bushuo, P.S. Marshall, Henry Martin, other members of government, the members of the press, Dr. Peter Knight. I really want to say first, again, happy birthday, Prime Minister. And second, I don't know if you know, but speaking after Darrell Bass is never easy, so I'll make my best. At Carib Cement, we believe that building a greater Jamaica is more than just a tagline. It's the reason why 500 men and women come to work every day at our plant. We believe that building a greater Jamaica for our employees, our customers, our shareholders, our communities, and the country as a whole will then have an assurance to have a long-term, sustainable, and profitable company. When Minister Bass and I began the dialogue on this issue over 2 years ago, and right after one of the fires at Riverton, my team and myself immediately started discussing what would be the best way to address this. And as he pointed out, we first started looking at shredded tires. And shredded tires look at that moment one of the simplest solutions. But shredded tires has some issues. Shredding the tires has tremendous cost. So we looked at other potential solutions, and then we analyzed using the whole tires, but this created other issues. The cost of making adjustments at our kiln, which will end up in being a significant investment of over $500,000 US. And higher operational and maintenance costs related to using non-traditional fuels as replacement of traditional fuels. However, we continue looking at the scenarios until we find the viable one. The approach we have to then look at it is stop looking at this as an economical project and start looking at it as part of our social responsibility project. In that moment, the project started to make sense. And we looked at it and started discussing with Minister Bass on a different way. And it's, okay, let's receive the whole tires, let's start replacing traditional fuel with them, despite the additional cost of investment and the additional cost of maintenance that will be compensated by continue building a greater Jamaica. Today, after more than 1 year of working with the government of Jamaica on the planning stage, we're ready to move to the execution stage. And of those who know Minister Bass know that planning, he likes to go to the execution stage. So we are happy to move on, Minister Bass, to the execution. I am confident that we start a trial today that, when proved successful, will help us continue and eliminating the tires of Riverton City between 3 and 5 years. So after this trial period, once we move to the full project, we'll be able to eliminate all tires in Riverton between 3 and 5 years. We are committed to the success of this project because it's good to the environment, the health, and the safety of Jamaicans. This partnership has the potential to become another good example of a joint solution between the government and the private sector that I encourage that we continue to focus. Our parent company, the Cemex Group, is currently one of the worldwide leaders in the use of alternative fuels for cement production. Cemex strongly commits to migrate to cleaner energy sources and to displace traditional fuels like coal or others for low or even zero carbon alternatives, such as municipal solid waste, tires, and biomass. By this project, Jamaica joins other Cemex operations like Poland, Latvia, Czech Republic, Germany, and the US, where successful partnerships have resulted in the conversion of more than 900,000 tons of solid waste in 2017. In 2017, 26% of Cemex fuels worldwide were coming from alternative fuels. In Jamaica, we managed to go between 4 and 8%. And with this Tyre project, we'll continue reducing fossil fuels and replacing them with alternative fuels. Our goal is to increase this number in the coming years and join other Cemex operations above the 20%. I want to end up by describing a little bit of this process. If you burn a tire at the incinerator, it burns at 600 degrees Celsius, producing a lot of toxic gases. When you burn it at a kiln, it burns at 1400 degrees Celsius, and it's not the same. At 1400 degrees Celsius, the tire is burned instantaneously with these toxic gases. And then in an incinerator, you still produce a byproduct, which is the ashes. When you burn it in the kiln, the ashes just come out as the ashes of our other fuels and get blended into our process. So it does not produce a byproduct. It does not produce toxic gases. And it is the best and most environmentally friendly way to solve many environmental liabilities like the tires. This is not something that Peter says. This is not something that Jago or Cemex or Carib says. This has been proven by many institutional partners across the world, including subsidiaries of the World Bank and others. So I want to end up by thanking the Carib team, who has worked up many times and many scenarios to find the best way to do this, and our partners in the government, who has helped us looking at the best ways to solve this issue. And I also want to take my last public appearance in Jamaica to thank Jamaica for the warm welcoming they have given me for the past 3 years. I can say that I came here knowing a little bit about Jamaica, and I leave wherever I go to be an ambassador to this country, and I will come back as a tourist and as a Jamaican wannabe that I am. So thank you very much for everything, and thank you for all the support you've given me for the past 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan Smooth, and I can see that you immersed yourself in our culture while you were here, and we welcome you with open arms back at any time you wish to be in Jamaica. Another very important arm of government undertaking this project is the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. The National Solid Waste Management Authority actually falls under the Ministry of Local Government, ably led by the Honourable Desmond McKenzie, and may I invite Minister McKenzie to give a few remarks on this project. Minister? While the Minister comes, may I also just acknowledge the presence of the Chairman of Carib Cement, Dr. Paris Leoai.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, colleague Minister Vaz, Permanent Secretaries Sewell and Henry Martin, officials from NEPA and our very special guest, the cement company. Minister Vaz have said it enough, and the Prime Minister will also speak more extensively to this morning's occasion. But the Ministry of Local Government and the National Solid Waste Management Authority welcomes this new project. What this offers to our various facilities across the country, and we must remember that there are 9 other such facilities across Jamaica that carries a high volume of tires. This MOU that we are going to be signing this morning will be a game changer. And I'm looking at Peter Knight, and I know the agony and the pain that we both have to endure when there is a fire at any of the facilities across the country. And once it is attributed to the burning of tires, then it poses a much greater challenge, not just for the environment, but for those who have the responsibility in maintaining the fire. So this is an occasion that we welcome. It's an occasion that will offer much more security and confidence to our facilities. And knowing the track record of the cement company over the years, I have no doubt that this will be one such new initiative that will both enhance and encourage and even have greater confidence in the ability of the National Solid Waste Management Authority to operate. So as I said before, this is where the joined-up approach in government has taken shape. And I want to thank Minister Vaz for the role that he has been playing, and he will continue to play that role. And when he speaks with the authority of the Ministry of Local Government. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Mackenzie. Indeed, a joined-up approach in government, and certainly a good example of private sector, public-private sector partnership, and two, corporate social responsibility. So once again, I thank all the speakers who have already come up and endorsed the MOU, certainly a new day for Jamaica. Now our final speaker, Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness. You know, there are several times you hear in media that, you know, the environment is crucial, but the Prime Minister embodies certainly a person who puts the environment first. Over the 3 years, just off the top of my own head, we can point out that there have been wins in terms of the Goat Island matter, the issue concerning the cockpit country, and now making a very, very massive leap in terms of dealing with the Tyre situation in our landfills. So without further ado, may I welcome, and let me take liberty in saying, the birthday man, the Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness.
Thank you, Naomi. Ministers, permanent secretaries, executives of Caribbean Cement, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good morning. Let me not say anything about the other important event today, but just to say that I give God thanks to be alive to see this day. And of course, it is my wish to see many, 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 many more. The project that we are witnessing today, and I'll just give a very brief overview. is a very important one to the government's environmental agenda. The Riverton City dump is one of the greatest challenges that the government faces today, and has been for many years. A large part of that is due to the highly combustible solid waste which is disposed at the site. Tires being the main combustible that is there at this point. And the challenge with tires, of course, is that when they burn for a long period of time, and they're not easy to contain once they have started to burn. And so you would have heard as well that when they burn in uncontrolled circumstances at relatively low temperatures, they release all kinds of toxins into the air. So the best solution to them, which is now being practiced worldwide, is to have them incinerated in a managed process in a kiln. And indeed, others have used them in waste-to-energy projects as well, which is the same principle of a high-temperature kiln converting the waste into energy, into heat and energy. In this instance, you are more concentrating on the heat, but could, if you so chose, use it for energy as well. Now, the number of tires that we estimate to be on the Riverton City site is in the region of 1.5 million to 2 million. And those are tires that have been accumulated for decades. But as Minister McKenzie has said, we have several other sites around the country where these tires are also being accumulated, and they pose a serious threat to our environment. In searching for solutions, you would recall that 2 years ago, we named an enterprise team to take a full view of our waste management systems in Jamaica, including looking at the development of new waste disposal sites. And when I say development, not as how we understand waste disposal sites, but to truly put in landfills, to look at the system of garbage collection, and to look at systems of capturing the economic value of waste. So you would have heard that we are now very close to a deposit back scheme, which Minister Vaz gave some indication of where we are with that in his presentation in Parliament last week. And that will place an economic value on plastic and hopefully improve the collection of plastic bottles. We are looking at making universally applied other measures, such as the separation of garbage. We are looking at how we can institute a waste-to-energy project. So all of that is being done. We are at a very advanced stage, and now there are other studies being done to see how this can be done in an economic way. A very important point, which I would again want to reemphasize, is that if you were to only look at the economics of some of these initiatives, these projects would not work. But it is not a complete and accurate statement that these environmental projects are not economical. They are uneconomical because we are looking through them from a very narrow prism. In other words, we are not putting into the equation the cost of environmental destruction. And if we were to put the cost of the damage to our environment, including the cost of climate change, then we would see that these projects are imperatives and cannot merely be viewed from an accounting perspective. So for the government of Jamaica, we see this as not just economics, and I'm very happy to see that the parent company CMEX and the local directors here for Carib Cement see this project as an environmental imperative. In other words, we are putting into the equation of profitability the cost of the environment. So we were trying to find ways of safely disposing and managing the tires at Riverton City and other landfills. And the tires have been so far successfully managed at Riverton City for the last 3 or 4 years. Thank God we have not had any major incidents. But them being there, largely in the open, still poses a risk. And the risk is even greater because, yes, when we had that terrible fire about 6 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago, in 2015, 4 years ago, 2015, it literally shut down the city. Even small fires now are having a devastating impact on the port. And you know we have recently divested the port. The port is growing, more visitors coming in. So the reasons to move ahead with solutions are becoming greater. We originally considered shredding the tires, pelletizing them, but that in itself uses energy, takes high capital investments to do that, and you still, of course, have to deal with transportation to move them. And the truth is, pelletized tires burn just as well. So you still face the problem of uncontrolled combustion. The cement company, many of our discussions about the industry, brought to our attention that they would be willing to use it. Now, you can imagine that the plant that they have is already spec'd to use coal or other traditional fossil fuels. So they would have had to take on the financial obligations of changing the specifications of their kiln to be able to incinerate tires. And they would have taken that on. So we are now in the phase of testing it. They are already tested to see, to establish that the kiln can incinerate at very high temperatures without much waste and toxins being put into the environment. So that part of it is established. Now we have to establish the logistics. Can we successfully load the tires at the dump site, fill trucks with them, move them to the kiln, and what would be the challenges faced in doing that and getting a better understanding of the costs involved in doing that. And whilst we can plan on paper, you always need to do in these very complicated and complex undertakings, you need to do a test run. So the MOU that we're signing today creates that test environment where for the next 40 days, the NSWMA will supply Carib Cement with 5 truckloads of used tires per day. And that is a major undertaking. Carib Cement will be responsible for the payment of costs relating to the offloading of the tires, and the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation will share equally in the cost of unloading, that is putting the tires on the trucks and transporting them to the kiln. That is the essence of the MOU. After 40 days, we will have a better understanding of how this logistics and cost structure works. And then we will proceed with a more long-term memorandum of understanding, probably agreement, contract in place. So this is the first step. a baby step, but an important step nonetheless. The other sites, once we have this one in operation and we better understand the logistics and the cost, then we can start to plan for the other sites. Indeed, I've suggested now to the permanent secretaries and the ministers that maybe what we need to start doing now is to establish collection points closer to the point of use, establishing protocols around the disposal of tires, and we may have to make some investments in moving the tires in bulk to reduce the unit cost of moving, and use alternative means of transport that will lower the cost of moving the tires. But the government is on a path, we are committed, and I think that this is a synergetic solution, an integrated solution to the problem of solid waste disposal, particularly those combustible types in the form of tires. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a good day for Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. And since there are no other speakers, then now I can use this one because I can pull it down a little bit. All right, so then this now concludes our discussion segment, but we have a very important task, that of signing the MOU. So may I invite the persons with the Memorandum of Understanding to bring them forward. The signature will be Mrs. Audrey Sewell, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the Office of the Prime Minister, as well as Mrs. Marsha Martin Henry, the Permanent Secretary